What I'm doing is the fast track, and it's the productive track. Because if we can file individual cases raising these same briefs, these same arguments across America, we'll make it to that building on the other side of it. The only building in Washington that's important to me is on the other side of the Capitol building. Yeah. They got a rally going on there right now for life, I guess, but that's the only building that's important to me. But if we get enough of these cases filed, we'll get there. And next time we have a rally here, there will be the thousands that we need. I mean, fathers of America are not exercising the constitutional rights that we, as men, had most to do with. Think about it, all the wars from the beginning of time, who were the ones dying and spilling their blood and guts for a nation whose principles were supposed to be, you know, what they were fighting for. Men. We gave up our lives for these rights. And now that we're in a position where we need to exercise them, all our predecessors, my father spent 5 years in a Nazi war camp. Okay? You know, so there aren't just certain groups that were, victimized in World War II. Many, all of the world itself was victimized. But now that we need to exercise those rights, we're not doing it. Why? That is something that boggles my mind. As a constitutional rights attorney, I don't follow that at all. The family court judge in Albany was pretty bold, but he was doing it for the wrong purpose. He was trying to preserve a foster mother to have parenting rights. Think about that. A foster mother now is going to have a fundamental constitutional parenting right? Let me put that in perspective so you understand my outrage. This judge actually ruled that a foster mother as a fundamental constitutionally protected parenting right. Wait a minute. We fathers don't seem to have that today.
That's something to do with federal funding, I guess.
No. Well, there's that. That's another issue. Yeah. We could get into that. But I'm more concerned about the bigger problem. The bigger problem is phasing out fathers. Because that's what they're doing. And they don't care. Trust me, they don't care. That's evil.
What do you think of this thing they did in Florida a couple of weeks ago? They removed custodial and non-custodial from all the wording. They're all parents and all this other stuff.
That's good. That's definitely good. But in New York, they removed the commission report that they did. The 2006 commission report to the chief judge of the state of New York, they removed visitation. That word shouldn't be used anymore. But they kept custody. And why did they keep custody? Because that's what gets the lawyers rich. There's no question it's a gender issue. I mean, I could mask behind what it is. It's a gender issue. 85% of child U.S. Census statistics, okay? 85% of child support obligers nationwide are men. It was the way in the 70s, the 80s. It hasn't changed. It's still that way today. In New York State, according to shared parenting legislation, I'm only quoting the legislation, better than 90% of custody awards in New York State contested go to the women. Now, I would suggest to you that if all the employees in that congressional building were men today, 90%, or 85% of all the people employed in this hotel were men, or if the police force or anything else, and they were all, you would have riots in the streets on the part of women saying, hey, this is unfair, okay? There was never any national organization of women. We take that as, what's the big deal? They've always been around. But then you go National League of Fathers, and we're radicals, we're crazies, we shouldn't be gender-oriented. The privacy right, we got no role to play in that. They're my child, you're boarding. You have a gender constitutionally protected right. Where does the father have his right? Where does he enter? That's the whole point that I'm making. When does the father become a father? And if you're not going to allow him to be a father, don't take his money. Because that's taxation without justification. Never mind representation, that's long gone. It is a gender issue. It most unequivocally is a gender issue. The stats support that. The decisions support that. And we have to raise children together. We can't have all the women taking 50% of the jobs, and yet men are still 15% of the child raisers paying money. And the most craziest thing that I've never heard anywhere in America today, since slavery anyways, is that men are paying for people to take their children away from them. You're paying child, they call it child support. Nonsense, ain't child support, it's a tax. I'm actually, people are coming in and they're paying the custodial parent to move the child. Now that's where I get into a parenting hierarchy, and that's a part of my briefs. And there's a couple of videos we have on our websites that you can get into to get it more detailed. But I talk about a parenting hierarchy created by the state of New York. You may not know this as you're going through it, but it's happening. They start by first seizing the children from you, saying that the prima facie case for custody of children resides in neither parent. Bullcrap. They reside in both parents, okay? You have to try to show where we can't be good parents, not just take them from us, but that's what they do. And the second place parent in that hierarchy becomes the custodial parent mother, because of the primary caregiver doctrine. Then, if you try to contest it and get time with your child, what do? They appoint a law guardian. That law guardian becomes parent number 3, takes precedence over you. Their recommendations will be respected more because they're supposedly protecting the children. Remember what the state's doing? They're supposedly looking out for your children. Okay, parent figure number 4 is who? The kindergarten teacher. They come around, they get the child without a hearing. You have to have a hearing. Parent figure number 5, the daycare provider, right? And the babysitter, right down to the mother-in-law. These are all parenting figures. Tell me I'm not right. They're more important than you. Go into court and try to take the time away from a mother-in-law or a babysitter. They say the idea of the first refusal option, right? Should be in every divorce case. They shouldn't even be written in a separation agreement. They should be given because you're more important than any other parenting figure. Not so. And even if you have an agreement, they don't enforce it. So that parenting hierarchy is how they get rid of you. And then finally, you become subclass parent. How do you become a subclass parent? Well, that's in the support court. Support magistrate comes in and says, imputes income. So you should be making a lot more than you are. Wait a minute, you're not doing that to her. Now you're not even a parent, you're a subclass. You are a involuntary servitude, which the 13th Amendment prohibited. Now the case went to the 9th Circuit in California. They ruled, well, it doesn't violate the 13th Amendment. Nonsense. You're being told that you'll be making $100,000 whether you want to, whether you can or not, whether you're capable or not, whether the economy of your community allows it. And they impute it into you. They make believe you earn that money, and they tax you on it and take your money away. And what do they do with the money? They take it away and they help the mother remove the parents further and further away from you through the use of this parenting hierarchy, which the courts enforce. You don't even know what's happening to you, because it happens stage by stage, step by step, until finally someday you're sitting on the outside paying all this money you can't afford, you're going to jail, and that's the ultimate form of sole custody, isn't it? I'm tired out here. The ultimate form of sole custody is jailing you for not paying your child support. No question, there's exceptions to the rule, but all I'm simply saying, we've got to achieve equity and equality before we can get to those other subjects. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
And yeah, I represent a non-custodial mother. She learned what it's like to be a father. So yes, we do have that issue. But
I have joint custody. I live a mile from his school. I'm retired. If he gets sick in school, he cannot call me. He's got to call my ex's friend down the street.
there you go.
And the school won't listen to me, and family court won't listen to me.
That's what you've just
She
made my
chooses.
point. You just made my case.
Yeah.
All those parenting figures took precedent over you, including a stranger that lives down the road.
Yeah.
You can't degrade fatherhood more than this kind of nonsense.
That's
It didn't used to
horrible.
be. A father came in, I want to know what's going on, and he had respect. Not anymore. You're only good for your money, and even though you work hard, you do everything you can to make those payments, you're still not good enough. You're never good enough. And so fathers, they go off the deep end. They get a little crazy, you know? A normal person would. A normal person under those circumstances, will end up, finding it very difficult to function. So, you have a choice. You can go along with that system and do the best you can under it, live under that oppression. It's oppression. It's government oppression. It's intangible imprisonment, no doubt about it. Tell me you don't feel like, well, what's going to come in the mail tomorrow? What petition I'm going to get hit with next? And you know you can't win it. You can hire all the lawyers and max out all your credit cards. You know you're going to lose it, okay? You're in an intangible form of imprisonment. And for what? Because you want to be a good father? Try to get more time with your children? No, we have to, it's a gender issue.
Absolutely.
I could fool myself like her. I go ahead. I'm not going to do that. I tell it the way it is. The stats support me. Fathers are discriminated here. It is a gender issue. Just like, come on. Right as we speak, there's an abortion case or something going on at the Supreme Court. I'll check it out, look it up I know that they got the Right to Life group out there, so they got the tape on their lips, whatever. Life, They're protesting a gender issue. That's a gender right. And we accept that? So what are we asserting a gender right here? We're crazy? No, the reality is, it is a gender issue, and we have to get equality in this area, but we are not stepping up to the plate. We're stepping up to the buffet plates, the baseball plates, a lot of other plates, but this is the plate we're not stepping up to. And we do have the power. You are the true quintessential Americans. The ones that believe in this country and are still standing up for your rights.